Hey guys, it's me, Jasmine, your Tuesday host, and you are watching the Spellbound Heathens. Okay guys, so this week's topic is how we discovered paganism. Bear with me because this is kind of a long, twisty, crazy, like M. Night Shyamalan type story, but when I was really little, I was very spiritually intuitive. I had very psychic tendencies. I could see auras. I had some experiences with the supernatural that I didn't really find out about until recently. That kind of faded away over time. I think I just kind of suppressed it. And when my parents were still together, we weren't very religious at all. Then my parents split up, and we moved across the country. I moved with my dad. And his wife, my stepmother, is very, very devout Christian. And my father actually has 3 or 4 generations of Southern Baptist preachers in his family, so they really got kicked off. We joined a church. My dad became the executive pastor. My stepmom was the counseling pastor, and I actually became a youth minister in a sense. I was the worship leader. I taught Sunday school for several years. I was a leader in the youth group. We went on mission trips and all sorts of stuff. And one of the places that we went was called Dare to Share, but it's basically a conference where they teach children and teenagers how to be trolls. And I'm not kidding. They teach you to be those people that go around knocking on people's doors, bugging the shit out of you, and getting on your Facebook and your YouTube and trolling the internet trying to convert people. And unfortunately enough, I became that person. And I spent a good couple years doing this. And it's pretty sad that I was taught how to do that, and I didn't even really realize what I was being taught. And the magnitude of it. But the fact of the matter is, they don't teach you to respect other people. They teach you that they're going to hell no matter what they believe if they're a religion other than your own. I've always been a fan of vampires. I have always loved vampire movies, vampire books, vampire subculture, the whole 9 yards. And as I was trolling around in these different forums online, I found a forum about vampires. So of course I join in and I'm, chit-chatting along with all the stuff about vampires. And a few wonderful ladies came in that were actually psychic vampires. And I'm not going to talk about the ethics of that or my opinions on it in this video because that's a complete other topic. I may make a video about that on my channel here in the next couple days. And they started talking about psychic vampirism, and I really got into it, and I started researching it. And when I did that, of course, a lot of metaphysical things started popping up about auras and astral travel and psychic warfare, and I got really, really into it. So of course I started learning how to see auras, even though I had already been predisposed to that as a child, so it came very quickly to me. Everything came very, very easily, and I didn't really know why. And of course, when you're learning about the metaphysical, and you're Googling and getting books and things like that, you start coming across more and more New Age type websites and information. And as I became better friends with these wonderful women, they started discussing spirituality, and we did some pretty hardcore battle over the spirituality side of things. They brought up some really good points, and I've always been a history buff. I have always loved archaeology and anthropology, ancient cultures. The History Channel has always been my favorite channel. And when they start bringing up these historical points about the Bible, about the history of Christianity, about the different translations, it started getting a little weird. And by that I mean I started kind of figuring out that a lot of it was not truth. And I guess that's the best way I can explain that. So I started going through and learning more about Wicca and paganism and just from a spectator's point of view, basically. And then I went on a trip with a class that I took in high school called Southwest Studies, and we went to New Mexico, and we got to visit all of the different tribes in New Mexico. We got to go to ancient cliff dwellings. We learned about the Anasazi. We got to speak with tribal members, elders, shamans, medicine men. We got to touch pottery that was 10,000, 20,000 years old, that was still just laying on the ground. And it was incredible. And I knew from some previous genetic research that I was descended from Native Americans. I actually have 3 different tribes in my background. So I started studying that because I connected with it so well. So there's where that kind of started coming into play. And then, as I'm studying Wicca and paganism and Native American shamanism and all of these different things, I started incorporating different practices into my life. There was really no definite point where I kind of switched over from Christianity to paganism. It was just like a gradual series of events. And then, through another crazy long twist of a story, I was actually, in the time after I moved to Colorado, I was separated from my mother because of several changes of addresses on both ends. We really had zero contact with each other for probably almost 10 years. A year or 2 years before I graduated, I started coming out and visiting my mom. Then when I graduated, I actually moved out here with her through another long series of events. I need to write a book, but anyway. When I got here, I discovered that for the last, probably 5, 6, maybe even 7 years that we had been separated, my mother had been doing the exact same thing. She had books upon books upon books about Wicca. She had people about people that are shamans that she corresponded with, and I also found out that when my grandmother passed away, my mother had received several books that were my grandmother's about paganism. Go figure. So basically, at the end of it all, as I started gradually switching over from being kind of agnostic, not really knowing what I believed or what I wanted, and trying to formulate everything about my spirituality, well, I found out that it's a family thing. So yeah, kind of a weird series of events how everything turned out. So yeah, I can't wait to hear everybody else's stories about this, and we'll see you next week. Blessed be.